Good morning, Brian again. So what I'll cover today, I guess, probably by this point most people have started learning to play, or what I should say have been learning to play, and are probably starting to get semi-competent with the instrument, or you may have been playing longer than that, but still, if you're just starting out, I guess this is a thing to cover about bending strings and doing vibrato, which, depending on what style of music you play, you may not hardly ever use those. It just kind of depends. Now, for everything I play, blues is the roots of it. That's what it was the easiest thing for me to come up on. I picked up a lot of stuff for that. It was really good training for me. It's at the roots of everything I play, so I mean it's the very big foundation of my style, and I couldn't play. Or well, I could play other things, I guess, but that's what I always go back to, and that's just the basis of my style. Now yours may end up being jazz or country or something like that, and this may not be that much use to you, although they do use it a little bit in country music. So if you're a classical guitarist, you probably never use it. Jazz, hardly ever. Use it in a lot of rock, though, and even some heavy metal. So there is a place for it other than blues. But what I'm talking about, let's see, first I'll talk about bending a string. Now, all that is no more, no less than grabbing any note, okay, and bending it up either a half step or a whole step or 1.5 steps or more, whatever you can physically do, but you just grab the string. And I'll use I'll be here on the, okay, I'm just going to do it on the 7th fret G string. Okay, so you can hear that, how it bends up, and you can go to any point in between, So there's a whole variation of different tones in there from the root. And anyway, if you're seeing what I was doing there, now I'm bending with my ring finger. Actually, now some people are really good at this. I'm not. Some people have very strong independent control of their different digits. Bend with just the one finger. So your index, your middle finger, ring finger. Of course, you can do it with your ring, maybe. Okay, which I can do that a little bit, I guess, but that's hard for most people to do. Now, if you're doing those really high bends, what I do is, see, I'm kind of bracing it with my, say, my index and my middle finger against my ring finger. It gives it extra strength. So if you're pushing with all of that instead of just one, so say that gives you extra leverage, I guess, to do it. So, like I said, you can do it independently, or brace up for strength with your other fingers and push. Now, does it make a difference if you're pushing up or pulling? It might be easier for you to pull the string down to bend instead of pushing up. It's really not any sound difference. not really any advantage either way that I'm aware of. It's just whatever's comfortable for you. So if it's easier for you to pull down, do that. It'll do the same thing. Now, other thing I would cover is vibrato, which, now all that is, think of it in terms of bending a string just minutely, back and forth, going up and down, up and down. It's like a pushing and a pulling, pushing and a pulling on the string. Now there's all kinds of different, well, not all kinds, there's at least 2 different ways to do that I'm aware of. There's a method that I see a lot of people do, where say they're on the note, okay, and they're not actually doing anything with their finger, they're actually like twisting their wrist rapidly back and forth. Some people, that, you know, it kind of looks like this. I can't do it, but this is kind of what it looks like. Something like that. Some people I see doing that are like Joe Bonamassa, I think, Ace Frehley, some of your older blues people. I think maybe Eric Clapton maybe does it, but that's not a method I'm comfortable with. I don't have that kind of rotation control in my wrist, and I really don't know how people do it, but that's how some people do it. Now I think most people do it the way I do it, which is you grab a note, and you're just using your finger pushing back and forth. So if you can see what I'm doing here, okay, that gives you a little bit. Some people can get more intense vibrato than I do. That's about as much as I want, though. Now, one lick that I tend to do quite regularly, and it's like a sweet spot for me. For some reason, using my middle finger on the G note on the low E string, that's just like a sweet spot for me. It doesn't matter which guitar I'm playing, however it's strung up. And I do have mine, my different guitars. Some of them I've got lighter gauge strings, some of them I've got heavier gauge. So this is a heavier gauge on this one. It doesn't seem to matter whichever one I pick up. That is always a sweet spot for me with that finger and that vibrato. So I'll show you what I mean. It just sounds good to me. It always makes it into every blues lick I do for some reason. And it seems like it's that magic note for me, although it's not really. If I'm the low E string, if I'm going to do vibrato, I tend to favor my middle finger for some reason. I don't know why, but on all those, a lot of those, I'm favoring it. On higher strings, I'm usually using my ring and my index. But anyway, that's just a real simple lesson on bending strings and using vibrato, and that's how I do it. So do what works best for you. Thanks, bye.